Hi, it's 𝕄𝕪𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤. Today I'm going to offer you 3 tips of how to use head glitch effectively in gunfights that can increase the chance of success and survival. This skill can be very useful if you want to win a lot of gunfights. Quick reminder that it can take a few weeks to master this. So without further ado, let's dive right into the tutorial. There are 2 main ways to head glitch. The first method is to position yourself behind cover that is slightly shorter than your character. Move right up to the corner, then aim down sights. If only your head is visible, you're head glitching. Even if the weapon model clips into the cover, you can still shoot as long as your line of sight to the target is clear, so don't worry about it. The second method is to position yourself so that only your head is exposed. For example, if the cover is low, crouch behind it and check whether just your head is visible. If so, you're head glitching. Another example is standing on slightly lower terrain and backing up until only your head shows above the ground. As long as your torso stays hidden while your head can see and shoot, it counts as a head glitch. Alright, now you know how to head glitch. Let's go over 3 tips of how to use it effectively in gunfights. The first tip is to expose as little of your head as possible. For example, when head glitching, you can shift slightly to the left so more of your head is covered by the object you're using as cover. This makes you much harder for opponents to hit. Be careful not to cover too much or else you won't be able to shoot. This also works in another way too. You could back up slightly on your cover until your entire torso is hidden while your line of sight remains clear. As long as only your head is visible and your shots connect, you're successfully head glitching. This could take time to master it since it's hard to understand when you can expose little your head when using this tactic. You'll have to understand when your line of sight is clear in order to perform well. The second tip is to use anything available to head glitch during gunfights. It can be artillery cannons, rocks, cards, basically any object that lets you hide your body while keeping your head exposed. Don't ever limit yourself to only some covers because you'll miss easy opportunities to win fights. Always analyze your surroundings, look for anything that can hide your torso, and check whether there's a position where only your head is visible. If it keeps you protected while you can still shoot, it's valid cover. Another mistake to avoid is panicking. When you panic, your judgment becomes clouded and you're more likely to make bad decisions, especially if you're pinned down or taking damage, which can make things worse for you. Instead, try to stay calm and look for something you can use to head glitch. Doing this increases your chances of surviving long enough to reposition, call for backup, or take control of the fight again. The third tip is to strafe while head glitching. Especially if the enemy has already spotted you. Moving side to side breaks their timing, their reaction, and forces them to adjust, which makes it harder for them to land a headshot. If you pop out and staying still, you're basically giving them a free kill or letting a nearby sniper line up an easy headshot. However, there are 2 situations where strafing isn't necessary. The first is when your opponent is distracted or completely unaware of you. If they haven't spotted you, stay still to maintain the best accuracy possible while taking your shot or dealing damage. Strafing just messes your aim up rather than helping. The second situation is when your opponent is low HP and you have more health. Even if they land a shot, they are unlikely to kill you unless they get lucky or your aim is bad. However, if your opponent is skilled, you should use small micro strafes, just enough to make their aim harder without destroying your own accuracy. Micro strafing is especially useful against strong players who can still punish you even when they're weak, so make sure you only strafe a little that can throw their aim off. Strafing while head glitching is only useful in 1v1s. It can work in 2v1s sometimes, but most of the time it's bad because the other opponent can cover many angles that put you on a disadvantage. They might also try to flank you to kill you that can lead to a loss in a gunfight. However, there are 3 exceptions where you can use it on a 2v1, such as if your second opponent is low on HP, missing all their shots, or unaware of your presence. If none of these conditions are met, avoid using it unless you want to make yourself an easy target. You're better off using it on a 1v1. That's the entire guide on this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give me a like, and if you enjoy my content, please hit that subscribe button. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. Do whatever you want, I have no problem with it. I'm just trying to reach 1,400 subscribers and I would appreciate if you did subscribe. But still, it's fine if you don't want to. Have a good day, evening or night, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.